Oh man, we need to get some kind of intro, something or other to get us in
Yeah.
there. We'll see how it
Yep.
goes.
We need to. We'll figure that out. I don't know how yet, but we'll do that. Um, so yeah, we're here. We're back. Glad to have you back. I missed you, man. For those listening, Zach got to spend some great time in Spain, and um, who knows, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that too. Would love to hear anything that comes up on that. But yeah, excited to chat just overall. And but yeah, today we'll cover, as we were texting you, you mentioned just some thoughts as from our last conversation that had come up, that your wife had brought up to you, and so would love to dive into that. And then it's Holy Week during this recording, so let's dive into Holy Week and Good Friday and Easter. Yeah, I guess first tell me a little bit more about what you and Sadie discussed.
Yeah, thanks. I think that was perfect. Quick recap on some of our conversation last time. We talked for a little bit about testimonies and what you say at the pulpit when you bear your testimony. And we talked about how, everybody gets up, they say, I know the church is true, and how neither of us like that. As well as how often people say, I know, and like, I know without a shadow of a doubt, yada, yada, yada. And they say what they say. And I think we mostly kept it to like, yeah, let's say less of I know and say more of I believe. Like, is that fair? That was kind of our
Pretty fair.
talk track.
Pretty fair. I think it's just making sure that, and who knows, like, and this might be where the conversation might goes, but it's like if they know, like, yeah, like I can't say they don't, but like I can't judge them per se, right?
Yeah,
For that, but I guess it just made me question more of what I say, and just, is that something that I know or know as much
yeah,
as I need to make that claim, if that makes sense. But yes,
totally,
proceed.
totally. Also, I might be waving this around. I found it on my desk, and it's a
Screwdriver.
nice prop. Yeah, there's a
All
little
right.
screwdriver. I'm not
All
sure where it
right.
came from.
I like it.
After talking with my wife a little bit, and I shared my thoughts and kind of recapped a little, she was like, totally agree about I know this church is true. I think you can say something similar and actually make a point that's valuable for people to hear. And I know this church is true doesn't cut it and doesn't actually like really mean anything. So like, okay, cool. She agrees with me. That means I'm probably on the right track. Um, and then I was talking about the whole like I know and professing your ultimate knowledge of things. And she was like, back up for a second. Um, don't ever discourage someone from saying, I know. And like let them share what they believe and say they know it. Because why don't they know it? And if you go around questioning what people know, um, like there's some good and some bad to it. Like it's good to question and it's good to validate. But if you tell people, do you actually know that? Like, could you actually be challenging them in a negative way? So I started thinking about it more, and I was just like, maybe I need to repent a little. And if somebody says they know something that maybe I think is a little silly to say they know, maybe I can just give them some grace and accept that I don't know what they know and what God knows. And if it's something that like pricks my heart a little bit, it makes me upset. Maybe it's more important that I figure out what I'm thinking about it and then just do me. Let
Mm-hmm.
them do them and I do
Yep.
me.
Yep.
So apologies if anything that I said in our last last chat came off as I don't know, rude to people who are already like getting up and bearing their testimony and like getting out of their comfort zone, because it's uncomfortable to get up for most people. Like it's, and I'm not sure if this happens to you, but I feel like I often will get down from the stand and wonder, like, did I say anything that was actually valuable to anybody? Like, was my testimony of any value? Did I bring the Spirit? Like, was that good? I don't want them questioning that and then thinking that I'm judging them for saying that they know something that maybe I don't know. So I just wanted to add my two bits there for a second, that you know what, I don't know what I don't know, and I can do better about giving people grace when they bear their testimony, and instead just like focusing on the things that are meaningful to me and appreciating those that get up and share a testimony that touches my heart, because there's always at least one in fast and testimony meeting that I'll hear and I'm like, wow, that was like truly edifying. So yeah, that was what I wanted to share.
I love that. Well, I think that was more the point, because yeah, I never want to discourage someone because I'm not them, and I think that's something that we need to get away from at the church, is judging what other people do say or believe, right? Because they're free to act upon their own beliefs, right? And what they know and have faith in, right? So I think it was more of like a personal thing for me on how we look at that, and more of a I think more of a personal reflect on that, not necessarily make sure before you say it, but kind of, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I
what,
think that's still worth. Yeah,
yeah, like before we say the same ritual up there that everyone says, let's think about that. It is kind of my overall thought on that. Because I mean, when you think of testimony, like it always your testimony always comes after your test, right? Or like there's no testimony without your test, and you do come to know and believe things right after that.
mm,
So
mm.
I can get behind it. I'm all on board with people knowing things. I just think that there's there are those things. So I'm with you that if it did come across as judgmental, because it probably did. Actually, we'll go back and listen to it, and it probably did
we
sound very
we went
judgmental.
for a good old rant there.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
ranted for a little bit. But yeah, no, and there's always space for it, and so I think maybe something to help bring conversation to people though that I'd be curious about this is if you do hear someone say that, like that they know something, would it I'd be fascinated, maybe this would be something that I do, but it'd be fascinating to go and ask them, like, hey, tell me more, like, how do you know? Just like, not in like a way to like demean, right?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah, but
hey,
like,
help me understand, hey, what you said up there, like, it impacted me, and like, it's cool, and like, I felt more depth behind I know X, Y, and Z, right? Or I believe X, Y, and Z. Like, tell me more about why that is. Like, that's cool. And I think that we could stir up more conversation that way and like build together. Because like what you and your wife discussed is, it sounds like it actually would be cool to say like, oh, like if that person knows that, like, then let me ask them so that I can know, right? Like I'm lacking wisdom, so let me go ask someone that knows more, right? Or believes something, and so I think that's maybe a call to repentance, to maybe listen more intently during a fast and testimony meeting of like what people are saying too, right? And not necessarily tune out when I hear the maybe a same start to every testimony, or some words that are always said out there that
Yeah.
that might not always be thought about on there. So, but I kind of want to do that now. I'll experiment with that. I think that our fast testimonies after general conference, so we got that coming up
Yeah.
next week.
Excited
So
to see how that goes.
yeah, that'll be
And
fun.
I'm excited for some raw conference thoughts
Yeah,
next
yep,
week. Tell you
yep.
what,
We'll
that's
get
gonna be
into the
a
nitty
it's
gritty.
gonna be a gay old time.
Yep, it'll be great. I know, and about the new 2-hour block too. Mixing that
Yeah,
up.
should we talk about that for a second?
Let's do it. Tell
What do you think about
me
that?
your thoughts. Yeah. All right, I'll go because you hit me first. Being in an elders quorum calling, I'm excited that we have a little warm up time before we get into elders quorum. That's what I'm excited about. We can. I think it'll be interesting because I think that sometimes people do take 15 minutes to finally get into class and these kind of things. So it'll be interesting to see like I'd love for people to be really punctual with it, and things like that. Tell me your thoughts, and then I've got another thought on what I think the church should do instead. But you go.
So first off, I think this is a test. I think they're going to test this out. It may not go the way they're thinking. I think it's great for kids, like for young men and
Primary.
young women,
Oh yeah, youth.
as like even up to young men and young women, because like as a youth, like I still remember 3-hour church on how bad my attention span was,
Yeah.
and how the switch to 2-hour church came after I was no longer a youth. Like that's
Mm,
actually crazy to think. It's
right.
crazy to think that I haven't always been doing 2-hour church, because like I think back and I'm like, man, I experienced some crazy non-church things during 3-hour block. Um, and it's like we're just trying to get through and survive those 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Like how many other kids with ADHD went in and just like were trying to figure out how to entertain themselves while they were like bored out of their mind from a poor teaching experience. But so anyway, like the 2-hour block is already great. I think it's going to be great for young women to just like segment out, like, here's priesthood stuff real quick. And I think they'll be better at getting to it and being punctual and like having some amount of ownership in like, let's do priesthood or like young women stuff. Okay, now let's do Sunday school. And I think that's going to be awesome. I have less faith in everyone my age and older
The adults.
to like, I think everyone is still going to take more time to get to class than maybe they could, and probably myself included. And I mean, I'll also for the next couple months still be juggling, switching off with my wife, who goes to nursery with our 18-month-old, because he can't handle just being dropped off yet. Like if he's anything like our first, then for whatever reason, he's not going to go to nursery on his own until he's 2. So that's a fun trip to get through. But yeah, I'm sitting back curious, but maybe a little doubtful.
Yeah. I'm curious too, but I am excited about having elders quorum every week. I am excited about having Sunday school every week. I think that the alignment on, so come follow me, that's generally just a Sunday school thing, and usually we're getting every other week we're hitting come follow me, not every week. And so
That's
there's
exciting.
a little bit less like we jump a lot in Sunday school and we miss context of what happens, I think. And so I think quick little check-ins on like those lessons is great. I think having an elders quorum where we can get the guys together every week is great. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I do think
Even
there will
just
be
for the
people.
announcements.
Yep, exactly.
So we can
Yep.
do all of our announcements every week and get people to
Right.
service projects and signing up for stuff.
Yep. Yep. And my ideal scenario, hear me out, is we cut sacrament meeting to half an hour. This is my hot take. We cut sacrament meeting to half an hour. Then how much time does that give us? Half an hour, 10-minute. Yep, 10-minute, like in between for whatever. And then we do the remaining, and then we cut in half again, Sunday school, elders quorum. So it's not the, it's just a little bit more time, I think, in the other two. And then that way, I think that we can keep focus on the sacrament. And I think the cool part would be for, especially like here locally, things like farewells and all that kind of stuff. Missionaries can talk or like teach a Sunday school lesson or like an elders quorum thing.
Ooh, instead of just booking out right after sacrament meeting? Or?
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like they wouldn't speak in sacrament. Like sacrament meeting is just hymn, sacrament, get to your class.
Oh, so you're saying like make the missionary return more informal to make it more of a
either return or going out, right? Like a farewell, like that they go to they go to Sunday school class and then they address their family, friends, and whoever's in Sunday school. They talk about lessons and they prep stuff. I think that would be a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun. I think that there's so many opportunities for those missionaries to. I think you get so many people to farewells, and it's great that you're speaking, and people love that. But I think that if you can get in a room full of people and you're asking actual deep questions about the gospel, that sets a different tone.
Oh,
so
that's a fun thought.
That's my missionary thought.
That's cool
on there. But yeah, like just keep sacrament to sacrament. I mean, I think there might need to be like a quick 5-minute TED Talk devotional from someone, right?
A cool sermon.
Yeah, quick little sermon.
Paid clergy. Bring back paid clergy. That's my 2 cents.
I was thinking about that today, actually, and I think that we should. So we could either go down that rabbit hole right now, or whatever. Yeah, volunteer seminary teachers again, or return missionary seminary teachers and paid clergy. Because then they can do that. They can run their wards.
Yeah. Hot take: paid clergy does not equal priestcraft.
Yep. Agreed.
That's where I'm at.
Yep.
That's where I'm at.
Yep.
I mean, I also think paid clergy maybe shouldn't have it as their only job. Maybe I need to think more about that. Maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't. But I haven't thought about. I thought enough about it to make a real case for it.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd be curious would we get a lot of younger people in as clergy, or would like a lot more younger, like kind of like depending on like in pay structure and that kind of stuff. If you're in a more well-off community, do you get higher? I don't know. Like that's all whole. Like, is it fair across everyone? Like, there's a lot of stuff that I think is hard to do, but I think that there's also purpose behind that. That there could be. Or would we get older clergy that are kind of doing this as their retirement, and you get wiser older people,
Ooh.
which I think could actually be very beneficial. Like we have so many people that go and serve missions and go and do all those things that have been great bishops and stake presidents, whatever. How great would it be for them to go back and do that, and or like mission presidents coming back after they serve as mission presidents, go in and be a bishop for a ward. Like how great that would be.
Okay. Problem I see immediately thinking about it. It's like, but what if you can't guarantee they're actually going to be great? And then you have like ward's got someone awesome that always delivers, always brings the spirit, great to listen to, all that. And then another ward close by struggles, don't have someone good, not quick or easy to just replace them. And then you have people that just want to go and enjoy the experience more. So you have one ward that's bloated with people that don't belong there, but they're excited for the sacrament meeting experience more than the ward that they're assigned. So they don't go to their ward.
Yeah. See, and this also opens up for me a whole other scenario that I think we keep them as like we keep stakes, and we don't have boundaries for wards within the stakes, but the stake takes care of itself, and whichever ward you'd like to participate in, you go to. So with that, cool thing is, yeah, maybe you like a certain bishop or whatever it might be, but also if 9 o'clock works best for you, if 10:30, if noon, if 1:30 works best for you, like you don't have to switch. Sure, there might be more people in like the 9, 10:30 and noon, but that's where you put like the learning pastor in at 1:30. The more junior one at the 1:30. I don't know, like I kind of think that would be fun too, is kind of open it up a little bit more, and I think we'd get higher participation across the board. That's been actually something funny. Shout out to my dad for this. If he listens to this, I think it's the coolest thing ever. Him and my sister are big into Pokemon Go. My sister doesn't go to church. Leave it at that. But my dad wants to spend time with her, and there's a group that gets together in Pokemon Go's Sunday afternoons, like at noon. And so my dad's like, I'm gonna go to church at 9, so and do the whole normal church thing, and then go play Pokemon Go with my daughter.
Dude, that's the best thing I've heard today. I love that.
So like, why aren't we more flexible on, like, sure,
Ooh.
like I get like taking care of like the whole group, and everyone needs to be taken care of. Yep. But I think we can do that at a stake level. Again, we still have bishops. We still have all that like in place. But and again, I don't know how we would manage the full attendance and things like that on there. Or more of, again, kind of like a ministering assignment, like, hey, like we have set up maybe general, like, because this like the neighborhood, it just works better, like you guys all are going to minister to each other, and like this bishop does have this ward area, but we don't care which time you go to, like, so I think it'd be kind of cool to have different perspectives. If neighbors can be like, hey, I went to church and I learned this from this ward, and then another neighbor says, oh, I went to this other time and we talked about this, and you're creating more conversation and all those kind of things, would be fun.
My other thought as part of this that kind of goes along with that is, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't, bring back midweek, like not on Sunday school as an evening voluntary class that you can go to or not. But make it legit. Make it like institute classes and have paid teachers that do it professionally, but don't just do it for youth and young single adults.
Yeah.
Like have those classes locally in any stake and make it open for anybody to go to so they can be continually learning. And I think the learning that happens in those classes is going to be comparable and much higher quality than anything you get going to church right now.
Yep. I agree. And I'm still open to, we can't have volunteers or, again, paid clergy. Like, I'd love to have paid clergy for that, or be comped for your, I don't know, not necessarily comped for your time. It's kind of up to, I don't know, what we can address that when we're doing it, right? But
Stake-based budget.
Right, a stake-based, but again, cool part is with that, like, again, like you said, different, like we could have different classes by different bishops or whoever it is, and then that frees up the bishop's time so much too, on that too. Like, if this is your job, like, there are so many bishops that are running 20 to 40-hour weeks on church callings on top of their 40-hour weeks at work, and that's not sustainable and not good for your family. Like, and with that, I would say this one might hit hard. I don't know, but I say no meetings on Sundays. Like, no ward council. Yeah, like no administrative meetings on Sundays. Like, even like for bishops to like interviews and that kind of stuff, I think those should be other days, other nights. Like, if you want to come talk to the bishop, they're getting paid so they can be there, and again, they can have their hours whenever they're available, but you can make the effort on a regular weekday to do that so that we can focus on coming together as a stake, because I'm not just saying a ward, but doing that on a Sunday, and all focus and attention is on Christ, the sacrament. Like, we're not worried about administrative pieces.
Okay.
I've even thought that right
counterpoint.
Now, but yeah, go for it.
If bishops get paid, quality of work that bishops do would go down. Hear me out. I think clergy should be paid, meaning those that teach, as well as like church musicians. I think we have church musicians, and I think we have like those that teach get paid.
Yep. So
I think that those
kind of, but you're saying bring those in with each stake.
Yes, bring those in with each stake. Leave administrative callings to be fully voluntary and not paid, so that you don't have people vying for the position or taking it for granted. I think there would be a lot more potential strife over ward and stake level callings if there's a salary attached to different positions other than teaching positions, where if your bishop is still responsible for recommends and like talking with people about the things that they're worried about, their personal salvation, I think all of a sudden a lot more members become a lot more entitled. And also there are members that will want to get into church leadership as a career. And I think that's something that could be really unhealthy and create more dissonance compared to just having paid teachers and like those that teach and present the content. So
I
that's
do wonder with that. I would throw in there though, we should pay clerks and secretaries. And I think that we could minimize the amount of those callings. Like if you had like a secretary and a clerk that got paid and did that full time, like, or even like, to be honest, if there was a stay-at-home mom that wanted to make a couple extra bucks,
let's be honest, women do it better.
yeah, well, especially for doing like assistant stuff and like, hey, like they can set up appointments and whatever it might be, like just kind of giving optionality as far as that goes. But then also like with clerks, like finance, like we could consolidate the clerk and like the manage, because the clerk oversees like the finances and all that stuff, and some wards have like 5 clerks that handle everything.
Yeah.
But I
Mine's
think
one of those.
that could just stay as one clerk, like if they're paid. And a clerk and a secretary, that can be like a however long position, right? Like you, if you're doing that as your job, you don't get burnt out after 2-3 years. Like it's your job, and people stay as clerks forever. And if you're in the state, you can also rotate between different wards, like different things. So you can actually make a career out of it, right? Like
I like that.
But then that would also solve like, hey, administrative things like the actual logistics are getting handled and taken care of. So if we do have like a volunteer bishop or whatever it might be, like those other callings, all the back end stuff is taken care of, and then they really can just focus on the spiritual. But I still think it should be someone that doesn't have to have meetings on a Sunday.
Agree. I like that. Paid clerks and secretaries. I would absolutely get behind that thought. I could even, I think as part of the switch, if they ever were to switch, they could have certain callings like invoice for their time versus having like a salaried
Be a contractor
that they do.
Yep.
Church contractor. Yeah. Or make them a part-time W-2.
Yeah, part-time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just split the hours that they work. Yep. I agree. So all sorts of good things we could do. Man.
I mean, the 12 get paid.
Yeah. 12.
I don't know if the 70s get paid.
I think the 70s do. I want to say they do because mission presidents do, because they live out there.
Oh, do mission presidents get paid? I knew they had some level of like expensing they could do, but I thought like their lifestyle and like how they live is comped for them, or is not comped for them.
Yeah.
Like
there's definitely things that they can do on top of, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's they're given like a stipend, or if it's like, I don't think it's like a, hey, W-2 employee like it might be with 70 or 12 or anything like that, but it's, they get some sort of compensation for it. Again, not really one to make money, I don't think.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I could be remembering wrong as well, but I'm pretty sure they get something, but it's not to live a lavish lifestyle by any means. And I think that it might be based on the area that you live as well. So
yeah. Great story that I heard from a 70 in a Sunday school when they came and visited a stake I was in a few years ago. Is that it used to be, this is like back in the 70s or 80s, mission presidents all had like a church credit card, basically, like a church account card. And it was all connected to the same account, and there was some level of like the honor system
Huh.
where they were told how to use the funds, but there weren't any checks and balances to make sure that they didn't do anything. And there was a mission president in Brazil that decided to take a break from his mission presidency and take his family on like an all expenses paid trip that they like went on an international vacation.
Interesting. Interesting.
and and nothing stopped them
Huh.
because of how the finances were managed for mission presidents. So that was a great laugh. But
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, with some of them too, like when I was down in Peru, I know that like it was comp for all the mission presidents to get together in Cusco, and they went and all did Machu Picchu together, and like all that kind of like
oh no way,
mission presidents do plenty of fun stuff for sure. As long
that's
as
cool.
as long as you got as long as you're the right mission president, you can always have fun.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
no, it's good. Um, yeah, it sounds like I just did a quick chat GPT, but yeah, global like full-time leaders have like living allowances. It's not,
Mm.
again, I think that it's, you know how like we were as missionaries, like you're given a certain allowance every month.
Good old MSF funds.
Yep. So yeah. Yep. So I think that it's probably similar to that is what it really is. They probably have it broken down on how you can use it or like a budgeted amount. But and I'd imagine most like the houses and stuff that's all paid for, so it's not really like you're not paying rent or anything like that. But interesting thought. So yeah, because we pay DI people, we pay BYU faculty, got church office staff, they're all paid. Church employees, so many people. Man, could you imagine HR software for the whole church though to run this clergy?
Dude,
Not
I
necessarily
know
promoting
it's
any certain HR software out there. Don't want to get us in
no,
trouble.
I can't imagine. I mean, I heard a statistic once, and who knows how accurate this was, but that it was something like 50% of people employed by the church working in a salaried position were also on food stamps.
Really?
Because
Wow.
the church doesn't the church pays a conservative wage, not a competitive wage, even though they have very good like health insurance and stuff. So it's not the place to go to like make a competitive wage so much as like have a role that feels empowering and gives you some safety in terms of like the insurances and stuff you have access to.
Well, I mean, if you do think about it, I think, yeah, we've got like church office and everything like that, and like seminary teachers and those folks, but I think that 50% is probably largely welfare and humanitarian workers that really are stocking shelves and doing those kind of things that are similar to like a grocery store salary. Like, and if you have a full family, yeah, you're going to be on food stamps, right? Or like if you work at like the people at the DI, like that's ran by the church, right? Like they're the work, like the paid workers there. Yeah, they're not getting a lavish, like it's just like any other retail store salary, I'd imagine is like a conservative retail store
Yeah.
salary on that, but it provides opportunity for people that otherwise probably wouldn't get hired other places.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
my thought though, because I also don't want to discourage those people that do want to get into the church office, because I'm sure probably get paid fine and great benefits. But
Yeah. The benefits sound very appealing. I heard, I had a manager at one of my jobs whose his wife worked for the church, and the church, the benefits were really good for her. They
Hmm.
weren't great for the whole family, but they were really
Yeah,
good for her.
really good for
And
her.
it was like she went in for like some really expensive treatments that she had to get because of like breast cancer or something that had popped up, and she ended up paying like $200 out of pocket or something
Wow. Yeah.
for everything. So it's like very cool. I get that. Um, so yeah, I, not what I expected to chat about. Sorry for the tangent,
Me
but
neither. But that was fun. That was fun.
yeah,
And we're
yeah,
all learning together. Who knows? Maybe that's some wisdom for people to take on. It's maybe we're just lacking more of it because of it. So
yeah, yeah. I'd
did want
love
to
to
throw.
hear about
Oh yeah, go
Holy
for it.
Week,
I was gonna say
though,
let's transition to
before we
Holy
run
Week.
out of time. Yeah.
Real quick with that. Um, cool thing. I was diving into it, and again, this is just a plug for those that are afraid of AI. Is use it as a tool. Like it's so cool. Like I think that it's very valuable for. I think that it's very important as we have conversations that we always need to have conversations. But I do have to say, you can ask a lot of cool questions to ChatGPT to help enhance your scripture study and all those things. And the way that I have mine set up is it'll then ask me questions of like, hey, this is actually a really interesting thought too. Do you want me to dive deeper into it? And like, you can get into some really cool stuff. Like, and I love that. But I think with Holy Week, one of my biggest thoughts has been specifically around um, tomorrow's Friday, and it's Good Friday specifically. And a lot of the people that I have talked to that belong to Catholic or Protestant faiths, they like take Good Friday off. That's like major holiday for them. And I'm like, maybe I should do Good Friday so I don't work tomorrow. But then I'm like, but then what would I do? Like, what does that actually mean? And like, what is Good Friday like really about? And good contextually or like is synonymous in this context with like holy or like sacred. So like Holy Friday, and it kind of got me down the rabbit hole of like why is there such a big emphasis, but we haven't adopted that tradition as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like what are we missing, or like what's different? Not necessarily what are we missing, but kind of
But
on
kind
there.
of, yeah.
So my kind of getting to everything, and this actually ties back to, I don't know if you saw at the Salt Lake Temple, they now have a statue of Christ carrying a cross um,
No way.
out there. It's a new statue. Look it up. Super cool.
Oh,
Super cool statue.
yes.
Cause
Get ready to
we've,
get
we've
that cross tattoo on my wrist.
there we go. But I think that's been the interesting part with my studies though, and like a big difference in theology between Catholic and Protestant and our 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 faith tradition is their faith tradition, like the climax of Christ's atonement is dying on the cross. Because Christ died on the cross, you are saved through grace. Like classic Protestant is that like because Christ died on the cross, you're saved through grace. And which for those listening, like we do believe that everyone is saved regardless. Like that, I think that's kind of an interesting thought that I don't know if we've covered this or not. I feel like some conversations might have blended. But we believe that everyone's resurrected. Like no one, like everyone here on earth, for the most part, is going to be resurrected. Like we believe that. And because Christ died and was resurrected, which is really important, right? And there's been conference talks on, hey, yeah, like we don't focus on the cross because we believe in the resurrection, and like we put more focus on that. But most recently I've also thought we actually believe that Christ did a lot of the pain and suffering in Gethsemane on that Thursday night. Like I have almost always seen Thursday night as the biggest amount of pain and suffering for sins. I've always seen that as the main suffering, and then he died on the cross for the final sacrifice. From my studies, and I could be totally wrong, so any Catholic or Protestant, correct me on that, but from what I understand is that was more preparatory for him dying on the cross. And so the actual cross is, yeah, that the final sacrifice and what completes it all. But I feel like we put a lot more emphasis on, like, hey, he did like all the paying for everything in Gethsemane and felt all pain, anguish, sorrows, great drops of blood that came in Gethsemane. And then it was the final sacrifice was the cross, but then the resurrection. So I just see it as more of like a full picture. Not necessarily saying that theirs is incomplete. Like, that's not my intent, but like we always kind of look at the whole, and that's not necessarily our climax, isn't the cross on there. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
This is one, if you ever take the world religions class taught by Brother Butler, you'll be shocked by the actual history of the church with the cross. Because we didn't always, as a church, look to the suffering in Gethsemane as like the penultimate, experience or anything. We didn't always shrug off the cross as a symbol of our faith either. In fact, there are some significant buildings in Salt Lake that were built in the shape of a cross, if you like look from a top view. I need to grab the exact details, and this is something that you can go look up. But there was a point, like mid 1900s, maybe it was early 1900s. I want to say it was like 50s or 60s, when Salt Lake was composed of both a lot of Catholics and a lot of members of our faith. And church members, if you also look at like pictures from back during that time, church members wearing crosses and using the cross as a symbol of our faith, super common, just as common as other faiths. It wasn't until the 50s and 60s when there was like I don't know, what do you call it? A little kerfuffle between the Catholic Church and our faith, where church leaders decided at that point, like, okay, we don't want anything to do with the Catholic faith. So we're no longer using the cross to distinguish ourselves as Christians, even though that's what every other Christian does. And it was another way to separate ourselves and say we're different from the other faiths. So ever since then, we haven't revered the experience of Christ on the cross or used the cross as a symbol of our faith. But it's not because of any revelation or like church policy or doctrine or anything. It was a cultural shift that has happened to have different talks and things that church members will relate to now when we are asked, like, why don't we use the cross as a symbol of our faith? All of that came after this dispute in Salt Lake between the Catholic Church and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, is there actually a reason? Like, we've come up with a reason now, and if you like research it, you say like, well, why don't members of our faith like use the cross? You'll get like different conference talks from church leaders who then gave talks on Gethsemane. But that's all later on. In the same way that early church members, after the word of wisdom was given, still drank and often like smoked or chewed tobacco, but like worked on it. Like the word of wisdom was different for them, and it was more of a set of counsel versus like a law, and then later it changed to be a law. But yeah, it was a cultural shift that happened, and we've kept that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a more of a cultural shift happening now, where members are saying like, wait a minute, Christians are great, of all Christian faiths.
Mm-hmm.
And why would we want to not be a part of the great that others get from using the cross as a symbol and recognizing Jesus' suffering? So I've talked about this with a few others. My wife and I have talked about it a lot, but I hope that the cross does become a symbol of our faith again soon, and that becomes a more common thing. And there are more members that are kind of recognizing it, but yeah, there's not actually any real reason why we don't use the cross. And I think we should.
I agree.
I think we should spend more time, like, not just like, why did we ever downplay everything that he did after Gethsemane? Like, that's what it feels like, right?
That's what I'm thinking now. And like as I've been studying it too, I'm like that should be the culmination. Like that was like the whole point of Abraham sacrificing Isaac, was to represent that, right? Like and like because everything points to Christ, right? Like that was how that was going to be. Like that's the final sacrifice, right? And
Yeah.
that's
He didn't say it is finished
right,
until he was on the cross.
right.
Right?
He's the lamb of God, right? Like that's the final sacrifice right there, and that's more of one of those that I've been I've just been curious about, and really like it's something that I'm excited to dive into tomorrow, as it is Good Friday, and like making it a sacred time to like really ponder that, reflect that, like what does it mean to take up my cross, right? Like there's a reason that was said, right? Like in the scriptures is like take up your cross, right? Like there's very real reason for that. And again, I think that to your point, and because I was very careful with like how I phrased it, is it's a faith tradition. It's not commandment. It's not doctrine, that we don't put emphasis on that. It's just a tradition that, changed. and that's it, right? Like I don't think that it's doctrinal, that we shouldn't focus on the cross, because we'd be missing the climax of the whole movie. Like if you look at, like I really do like the Protestant view of like, hey, like Gethsemane was preparing, like that he could be really, I almost kind of look at it as that Gethsemane really was kind of like that final proofing, or like that final getting ready for the ultimate sacrifice, right? That final build to the climax of him dying on the cross, and then he was resurrected. And that's really important, because like we believe that everyone's resurrected as well, but like because of that sacrifice, that made everything right from the fall. Like that's what canceled that out. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty big miss if we don't think that's important on there. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to kind of dive into that tomorrow. Still working for part of the day. Nah, maybe I'll probably do the full day. But it is one that I'll be pondering on a lot more with that. And like it's so cool. So cool to just kind of reflect on that and to understand other faith traditions and see what people do get out of it. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If you appreciate the cross, and the cross is the symbol of your faith, why? And if it's not, why not? Actually, why not? Yeah. Yeah, the thought that came to mind while you were talking and speaking about that is just like, we focus on the living Christ a lot. We focus on the resurrected Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have the resurrected Christ without him dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that dying is pretty significant. Like, him dying for us. Like, he suffered our sins in Gethsemane, so he knows us.
Mm-hmm.
And he died for us to finish paying the ultimate price for our salvation,
Mm-hmm.
so that we are, saved through grace, despite all we do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think what's so beautiful in other faith traditions is they call it the Passion of Christ, right? Like there's something beautiful about calling it, like, about the word passion with it, right? Like he's doing with so much love and care that he was so ready and prepared that nothing was going to stop him from fulfilling. Like absolutely nothing, right? And I think that sometimes that passion is what's missing, I think, in our faith tradition. I think the passion, like I think we do too many things because it is a checkbox, not because of the passion for Christ, right? Like in coming to know him, and that's sad, right? Like that's been kind of the fun part of it, and kind of what I think really kind of prompted this with us starting this is, like, I kind of hit a point that I was like, man, like I have loved studying Jesus more. and there's lots of questions, and I just want to talk about it, and I want to talk about Christ. And sure, there's fun things that we can talk about with, the paid clergy and different commandments and all that kind of fun stuff. But like really it all comes down and boils down to that this all, like, having that passion for Christ because of his passion for us is what he's asking for, right?
Yeah. That 2 Nephi 25:26. We talk of Christ, we rejoice in Christ, we preach of Christ, we prophesy of Christ, and we write according to our prophecies, that our children may know to what source they may look for remission of their sins. Let's talk of Christ more. Let's rejoice in him. Let's bring back the passion of Christ's love, right? I love that.
That's my
And I
take.
think
Oh, yeah.
I think church members, and we as a church, like we have a very conservative face to the church. Multiple Christian faiths do, but I think there's a level of worry that an outward show of passion for Christ will turn into irreverence and take away from the Spirit. But I think we can do more to share our joy in Christ in a way that's more genuine. And for some people, that's going to be a more like Baptist revival show of faith and belief. And for others, like I'll probably stay the way I'm used to sharing my testimony and sharing my joy. But we can probably do more to be more inclusive in the way that we take from Christ's life and what he's done for us. And yeah, I may end up taking some time off tomorrow, even though I'm coming off of the back of being off for a long time. I may need to take some religious time off tomorrow and like go walk around the temple or something.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe I'll do
dude,
that.
and like just my other thought that kind of came up, like again with that passion, like I think us as adults, we want to believe that everything's good, like and everything's great. And it's hard for us to go through the depths of like with Christ again, right? Like to have that passion. Like I don't know if this is the same for you, but like
Mm.
being a teenager and like pre-mission and mission age like that, like from 12 to like about 21, you're really living in that like I am a terrible sinner and I'm saved now through Christ, right? And I think because you are going through so many, like you're trying to be your best with Christ and come to know Christ and everything like that. And then adults kind of stop that. And I think it's because we at times we do, again, it's kind of that tradition of like now we're on to resurrection now that I've done I've been baptized, Holy Ghost, like served a mission, gotten married, like now I'm just on to resurrection and we'll just wait until then. And we, like so many people I think, forget about like, hey, like your actions are a reflection of your faith, not so much requirements, but a reflection of your faith on that. And coming to know and having that passion with Christ more frequently, not being afraid to go into the depths of your heart and soul and actually ponder on where you're at, which is scary. Like, and I think a lot of adults have built up that shell or that have hardened hearts, right? Like colder hearts and are afraid to dive into that. And that could just be me totally mislabeling things, but I think like that's kind of what I experienced. Like, and this is what's exciting now about kind of this rekindling, this new passion is it has had me looking deeper into my soul, right? Of like what do I believe in, what is important, what really matters when it all comes to it, and drawing closer to Christ and trying to take up that cross with Christ, and knowing that even the messy parts are going to be lifted up. And then all the messy parts die because Christ died. And then we'll be resurrected. And yeah, I really think that it's sad that adults stop growing that way and stop feeling that passion for Christ. And it's exciting
Yeah.
to do it.
And I mean, some don't. I think some don't stop the passion. I'm with you though. Like I feel like this has been, I'm at a point where I realized a little while ago, like, um, for some reason, I convinced myself that now I have to look the part of enduring to the end. And enduring to the end, for some reason, I've convinced myself that enduring to the end means not struggling, that it's smooth sailing, and that it's going to church and doing the things and checking off the boxes, and that there's no longer any struggle. It's just continuing forward. And like, at what point did I decide that I didn't need help anymore? Or at what point did I decide that I was going to stop being vulnerable about the hard things? And yeah, the insidious way the adversary reaches us in our adult lives is to tell us that I've got it all figured out already. That, like, I know it. I've got it. While we still deal with the same things. Like,
Yep. Totally.
I'm struggling with a lot of the same things that I did during that time, but I've got different excuses now
Yeah.
for why I struggle with them.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like I've become, and I'm working on this. Like, I'm a lot less humble than I was as a teenager who realized that maybe the world wasn't about me for a minute. And as a missionary who finally realized that my mission wasn't all about me. That was a real shock.
Real tough.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Man, would have had a lot more mission friends if I realized that I was an incredible dick. But I did some good missionary work and came home with almost no mission friends. Um, but yeah, no, it's like, let's bring back, let's ensure that the passion for Christ is there, and that this weekend and tomorrow for Good Friday, that we make it a big deal. Like, let's make, and my ward is actually doing so good at this. It's been awesome. They've been like sending a message in the elders quorum group me every day about the different days of the week. And we have like the Living Scriptures subscription where they've been putting out like a video of each of the days of like what happened and like key things. And I feel like each year it's getting a little bit more better for me, more memorable. So yeah, no, it's just like, how can I make this day about Christ and about my faith and about the faith of others, and um, no better time than now to do it.
Yep. I love that. Agreed. Agreed, brother. I think that puts a cap on it. Yeah, very well said. And let's have ourselves a time with Christ and have that passion. So, anything else?
Oh,
Good?
no, man. Glad we came back around from paid clergy.
Yep. I know. I'm glad too. So, we always make our way back around eventually.
Yeah.
So we're there. So, but awesome. Well, hey, until next time, keep lacking wisdom.
Yep.
Yep.
We're there with you.
Yep. We'll keep it real. So, awesome. Thanks, brother. We'll see ya.
Peace be with you.